Right. Time to learn a little bit about DJ, producing music, that kind of stuff. Right. Let's activate YouTube chat. Cool.
The harmonic minor, we have so those two notes basically differ. But let's go back to natural, and now that we've chosen a scale, we can start building chords. And a chord is when you play 3 or more notes at the same time. So technically, this is a chord, right? Or this one. To play the notes quickly like this, I hold left alt and right click. You can see that I'm going only on the highlighted scale since we've enabled the helper over here. So then a chord progression is a sequence of chords played one after the other. So technically this is a chord progression, right? But there are some rules to make it sound great, because the chord progression is the backbone of your song. Most songs have just 4 chords in their progression, and they just repeat and repeat through the whole song, or even 2 chords in the progression. Chords also define what kind of melody we can play. It is a part of extensive music theory, but since there are only 7 notes in a scale, we can only make 7 basis chords, so there are not many ways we can go for. When writing the chord progression, it's always easiest to start with the root note, or bass note as some people call it. The root, just like in a tree, it's the lowest note, and it serves as a foundation for the rest of the chord. We musicians use Roman numerals to tell the progression. So here's a popular we can go for. That is 1, then 5. So we count all the white notes up to 5, also counting the first note. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you can see, I place it after the note, right? So we let it play for 1 beat, and then on the second beat, so we have 1, 5. Then we go to 6, so 1 higher, and 4, so 1 lower than 5. Then we build a chord by stacking every third note. So we just skip 1 note in between. So we go 1, skip 1, place 1, skip 1, place 1. Same here, skip 1, place 1, skip 1, place 1. Skip 1, place 1, skip 1, place 1. You can hear that it's getting very, very high in pitch. Place 1. Then we build a chord by stacking every third note. So we just skip 1 note in between. So we go 1, skip 1, place 1, skip 1, place 1. Same here, skip 1, place 1, skip 1, place 1, skip 1, place 1, skip 1, place 1. You can hear that it's getting very, very high in pitch. So we can mark everything, hold control, and hit arrow down on your keyboard. It will take it an octave lower, so everything will sound the same, just 1 octave lower. Now imagine what happens if we keep building the chord by skipping 1. Let's add 1 note to each chord by skipping 1 extra. Like this. you're getting jazzy, right? So you could technically be adding even more notes, but it doesn't really start to sound any better. Overall, we've added the 7th note, as you can see. Those are the 7th notes counting from the root note of the chord, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another pro tip is to double the root note an octave lower. This will make our chord sound a little bit more full. Holding Control and Shift and left click each of the root notes of the chord. Hold Shift and drag them, release Shift, and place them an octave lower. It will now sound like this. Another pro tip here is, as you can see, the difference between the notes here, it goes like this, right? The highest note is over here, and then the highest note of the next chord is very far away from this one. Let's try to make it more smooth like this. So we can, holding Control and left click, drag our mouse over the top notes, similar to what we've just done with the whole chord progression. We just hold down Control and arrow down. It will sound a little bit different. This is called different voicing. So same notes, but in different octaves. Nice, let's do that again with a different chord progression. We'll go with 1, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With 1, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 7. So 1 higher. And let's extend it like this. Let's basically go for, let's say, now we have vibes to them. So if we go for, let's say, minor, you'll see now we have and if you choose the harmonic minor, we have so those two notes basically differ. But let's go back to natural, and now that we've chosen a scale, we can start building chords. And a chord is when you play 3 or more notes at the same time. So technically, play 3 or more notes at the same time. So technically, this is a chord, right? Or this one. This is a chord, right? Or this one. To play the notes quickly like this, I hold left Alt and right click. You can see that I'm going only on the highlighted scale since we've enabled the helper over here. So then a chord progression is a sequence of chords played one after the other. So technically this is a chord progression, right? But there are some rules to make it sound great, because the chord progression is the backbone of your song. Most songs have just 4 chords in their progression, and they just repeat and repeat through the whole song, or even 2 chords in the progression. Chords also define what kind of melody we can play. It is a part of extensive music theory, but since there are only 7 notes in a scale, we can only make 7 basis chords, so there are not many ways we can go for. When writing the chord progression, it's always easiest to start with the root note, or bass note as some people call it. The root, just like in a tree, it's the lowest note, and it serves as a foundation for the rest of the chord. We musicians use Roman numerals to tell the progression. So here's a popular we can go for. That is 1, then 5. So we count all the white notes up to 5, also counting the first note. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you can see, I place it after the note, right? So we let it play for 1 beat, and then on the second beat, so we have 1, 5, then we go to 6, so 1 higher, and 4, so 1 lower than 5. Note, so we just skip 1 note in between chord by stacking every third note. Then we build a chord by stacking every third note, so we just skip 1 note in between. So we go 1, skip 1, place 1, skip 1, place 1. Same here, skip 1, place 1, skip 1, place 1. Skip 1, place 1, skip 1, place 1. You can hear that it's getting very, very high in pitch, so we can mark everything, hold Control and hit arrow down on your keyboard. It will take it an octave lower, so everything will sound the same, just 1 octave lower. Now imagine what happens if we keep building the chord by skipping 1. Let's add 1 note to each chord by skipping 1 extra. Like this. Now you're getting jazzy, right? So you could technically be adding even more notes, but it doesn't really start to sound any better. Overall, we've added the 7th note, as you can see. Those are the 7th notes counting from the root note of the chord, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another pro tip is to double the root note an octave lower. This will make our chord sound a little bit more full. Holding Control and Shift and left click each of the root notes of the chord. Hold Shift and drag them, release Shift, and place them an octave lower. It will now sound like this. Another pro tip here is, as you can see, the difference between the notes here, it goes like this, right? The highest note is over here, and then the highest note of the next chord is very far away from this one. Let's try to make it more smooth like this. So we can, holding Control and left click, drag our mouse over the top notes, similar to what we've just done with the whole chord progression. We just hold down Control and arrow down. It will sound a little bit different. This is called different voicing. So same notes, but in different octaves. Nice, let's do that again with a different chord progression. We'll go with 1, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 1 higher, and let's extend it like this. Now let's build the chord. Now you can see the FL copied the length of the last note. We can just delete it by right-clicking and hit on the shorter note, and it will remember this length. So we keep building the chord like that. And now we can click on this note, so it will copy the length. Let's do the similar thing so it flows a little bit better. So we take all of those notes that are a little bit too high and take them down an octave to create a different voicing. Now it sounds like this. Or what we can do is even take the whole chords other than the first chord an octave lower. So it also flows pretty nice. Let's hear it now. If you'd like to make it even longer, you can mark all of those chords and take this arrow over here and extend the chords, and while holding Alt, release it when you reach the double of the length, right? So it sounds now like that. Right, so something like this would be too fast. The perfect length for my ear is over here. Now let's delete this and go with something like C sharp. Why not? It will sound a little bit different and give you a different vibes, even though the relation of all the notes is exactly the same. So let's build on 1. The note is here a little bit too long, so we can hold shift and extend it like that. We have 1, 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, so 2 will be here, and 5, so 1 lower than 6. And I'm again counting only the highlighted notes. And then let's create chord by skipping 1 in each. It's pretty quick when you have the helper. That's why it's pretty useful to always have it on. Let's take the voicing down. Alright, so it will definitely work for some ballad or a little bit happier track. Let's go and try the same progression, but in minor natural. And now we would need to change the root notes and all of those notes. So let's go back and go for 1. We had 6 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we build it like that. 1 in between. 2, which is right. Only this note differs. And then 5, which only this note differs. Now let's take those guys down and hear how it sounds. You can see that this chord sounds pretty good, but it's not in scale. That's why I would not turn the snap to scale, because you can get some pretty, again, happy accidents. But let's take it down as it should get good. You can see that this chord sounds pretty good, but it's not in scale. That's why I would not turn the snap to scale, because you can get some pretty, again, happy accidents. But let's take it down as it should be and listen again in proper minor natural. And lastly, this chord for me doesn't sound quite right. That's why you can experiment with different modes of the minor scale, especially with the harmonic one. As you can see, all of the notes are correct, but the last note over here. Let's try it out. An excellent progression for stuff like melodic trap or any emotional kind of song. This could work definitely in any genre. Now the question you probably ask is, how do I know which root notes or what progression should I actually write on? And the problem is that there are no rules for that. You can definitely play around with any progression. Let's turn on snap to scale for real quick and even take something like 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sounds pretty nice, or something totally random like that. Let me take this 1 octave lower. And just quickly change the voicing here of those 2 notes. A great sounding progression, even though it was totally random. However, there is a list of progressions that work for certain genres and certain styles, and you will find the full list of the progressions that simply work inside today's downloads, because the root notes you choose, this is where the magic happens. There's no magic in building a chord by skip one, right? Or just changing how the notes flow in voicing. This is not hard. The hard part is getting the right progression, because it will define the vibe of your track. As soon as you have a progression like that, you can always experiment by adding just random notes to it. Let's say we add this one here, and this one here, and this one here. This didn't work well. Let's try this one. A little bit too many notes over here. If you stick to the scale and just build first the progression and then build basic chords out of that, and only then start to play with duplicating the root note and octave lower, or changing the voicing and then adding some notes here and there, there's just no way you'll write a bad sounding chord progression. Now we'd like to add another simple element, like a melody on top of our chords. Think of it like a lead melody. Of a guitar on top of the keyboard, or a vocal on top of a guitar. For that, I'd like to use a synthesizer so we can blend some notes here and there. There's just no way you'll write a bad sounding chord progression. Now we'd like to add another simple element, like a melody on top of our chords. Think of it like a lead melody of a guitar on top of the keyboard, or a vocal on top of a guitar. For that, I'd like to use a synthesizer so we can blend the realistic piano sound with a synth. Also, that's a great chance for me to show you the best free VST synthesizer, and that is Vital. Let's Google it, and you can go down and click on Basic, which is for free. Then just create an account, and then you'll be able to download it. There's no need to upgrade to Plus or Pro. They mainly just differ in the amount of presets that come by default pre-installed, but in today's downloads you'll find a ton of presets for you to choose from. So let's install this. Installation is complete. We can go again to Options, File Settings, Manage Plugins, and again find versions of it and hit on Vital. You can click on Work Offline or Login again. And now don't get intimidated. This is a full-blown synthesizer that lets you create any sound you can imagine. Sound design process is very fascinating, and we also have super in-depth courses on just sound design if you'd like to get pro as a sound designer. But we just want to search for a cool preset. You can click on the Init preset here, and it will show you all the presets you have pre-installed inside Vital. You can choose one and start playing on your typing keyboard. If it doesn't play, you just need to click on the window itself.
Text to wavetable.
I don't really like the stock presets that come in Vital. There are many free Vital preset packs that you can find, but we've prepared for you a Vital pack that you can find in today's downloads. Inside Vital, just go and import pack, find the folder and double click on it. You'll find it over here. Pretty cool stuff. We have a course that covers Vital in depth, so you can make any sounds you have in your head. If you feel like it, you can definitely go in and play around with those settings, especially with the macros on the left, which quickly change how those presets sound. Now, let's go back to our piano roll and now open up the Vital piano roll so we can write the melody on top of our chords. Let's make our piano a little bit louder and our pluck a little bit quieter. All right, so when it comes to writing melodies, a pretty good idea if you want to skip all the music theory and just like play around yourself is go to your typing keyboard to piano keyboard button and right click it. It will show up the layout. And the trick here is to choose the exact same layout we've chosen for our piano roll. So we chose the C sharp minor harmonic. So let's choose C sharp and minor harmonic. Now your typing keyboard will only play the notes in the right scale, starting from Z. This was A and Q and 1. So you will only be in scale, and now you can just play around with a rhythm. I would start, for example, with a root note of your track, which in this case will be Z, A, Q, or 1 on your keyboard. So we can do something like this. So I'll try to improvise something. Right? Very, very simple. We can also record that if you want by arming the record button, changing it to only notes. And then we can enable the countdown before recording and start. Right? Very, very simple. And now we can unarm the record. Let's figure out something even better. First framework for writing melodies that I'd like you to follow is just to write a simple melody only on top of the notes that we've already written when putting down your chords. So you can see in the piano roll those gray so-called ghost notes. If you don't see them, you can go to View and Ghost Channels, or simply hit Alt and V. So you can see if we hit Alt and V, the other channel we have over here will show up as ghost notes. So we can just follow the notes like this, for example. Right? And that was pretty cool already. Let's try it out. Maybe you can go a little bit out of those chord notes, but still with snap to scale enabled. The idea here is to never keep the rhythm all the time the same. So as you can see, if I were to take all of those notes into one note, this is the rhythm of our melody. You can see that every bar has a different kind of rhythm. So if you'd like to take this approach, you can choose the paint tool and paint over all the notes, and then just maybe even like delete some of them. Right? Maybe I don't like really the last part, so let's do it like this. And now, after we've got your random rhythm, basically, right? We go and change up the notes. So we can go down on up or higher like this, doesn't really matter. We'll hear how it sounds in a second. Completely random. This technique with coming up with rhythms first and then changing up the notes doesn't really work as good as the first technique I showed you, because it goes completely random. Here it goes down, here it goes up, and up. And instead we would like it to kind of like maybe flow like this, right? So that's why this technique with rhythms can get you somewhere. It will not necessarily be a good direction. However, the third really good technique is just creating something repetitive and then repeating it 2 or 3 times in each of those bars, and then in the fourth bar changing it. Okay, so let's try it out. And then just copy it 2 times. So I'll just take it, holding shift, copy it 2 times, and then maybe since those guys were going up, we can go down on the fourth to change it up a little bit and create some kind of question, right? And answer. This is what we usually do when creating melodies. Maybe something else. Pretty cheesy, not going to lie, but as you can see, it works. The best way will always be just trying out and adjusting in real time. So start writing the first bar of your melody, check if you like it, and changing one note at a time, and not necessarily start all over again, getting frustrating because it just doesn't sound nice. So there's the third technique. And the fourth one is actually the one that I've showed you in the very, very beginning. By choosing the correct layout of your typing keyboard and playing around. Let's say I played a nice melody, but I have not saved it. Fortunately, FL Studio always records your MIDI, even if you're not recording. For that, you can go to Tools and damp Score Log to selected pattern last 2 minutes. You can zoom out using Control and Scroll, and then zoom in using also Control and Scroll up. And then again, we'll mark, I think, this part. I'll copy it with Control C, and then with Control A, delete everything, and then scroll back and paste those guys back here. And we'll take only this part. If you see that some notes are very close to your chords, you can put them into the chord note. It, for example, here or here, it should better fit into the chords. I like it a lot. This is something I played by accident on a typing keyboard, and we have full course just about writing chords and melodies, but those are the essentials you need to know to start creating your melodies and harmonies. Now we covered the mids with our keyboard and melody. The one thing I think you'll love is also making a bass line. It's very easy because we'll take what we already have. Let's add another instance of Vital. Go into our presets and check one of the basses. Let's take this one, open the piano roll, and we'll follow the root notes of our track. We have the ghost notes open, but since we changed the voicing, you might not actually remember which note of these was the root note. But that's actually also a pretty cool exercise. So let's try finding the root note. The root note of a chord or a root note of a whole track, right? We can find by trying to hear if it sounds like home. All right, this is pretty funny, but let's try from the top, see if this note feels like home of this chord, okay? I don't know. Let's try this one. Not really. And this one? Okay, this definitely feels like home. If you don't feel it, just try to practice and try to even like hum what will be the home without hearing the bass note itself. So it will be C sharp over here. And then maybe let's take it an octave lower, or even one octave even lower. Let's hear how it sounds even with just one root note. This even by itself could be like this, but let's try to find the root note of the other chord. I think it's F sharp. Yep, and then this feels pretty good. Let's see. We can go octave lower with the C, but I would not suggest you go any lower than this because the bass will start to sound pretty weak. Keep that in mind to not go too low with your bass. And if you'd like to make the bass progression even darker or even more, emotional, you can just extend the first root note and simplify it like this. Sounds super cool because the chords change, but the bass stays the same. Inside the macros, our presets have those enabled so we can quickly change how the bass sounds. So today's homework is to first play around with labs and find a few instruments you like. Then please create a few chord progressions using the progression cheat sheet from today's downloads, ideally using different labs instruments. And also don't forget to create a pattern for each chord progression so you can always keep everything and come back to them. Then download Vital and install the free pack and try to create even very, very simple melody like today's for each progression you made. Today we'll be doing the second half of production stage, that is drums, and then we'll get into a little bit of arranging. So with drums, we have the same rule as yesterday. The better quality sound we start with, the better it will end up being. Sure, tomorrow we'll get into mixing and you'll see that we can turn even a really basic instrument into something that's totally unrecognizable. However, gold in equals gold out. So why not start with something exciting right away? That's why yesterday we've already installed the Labs and Vital plugin to not rely on the stock instruments. So today I've prepared for you an amazing collection of drum sounds, and these sounds are used by top tier artists worldwide so that you have the best starting point possible. And spoiler alert, in the music production community, buying sample packs in specific styles is pretty common, but the one you get at the end of this video, we made pretty huge, so you will not have to spend any extra money for any other sample pack in the coming months. This loop we've made yesterday it feels a little bit trappy, so let's build trap drums. We could build in the same pattern as we have here, but since it's pretty long. We would have to like fill all of the drums over, and we don't really need that much. Usually only 4 beats. As you can see, every beat is distinguished by different color. So what we can do is click on the plus or scroll up, and it will pop up another pattern for us, and we can build the drums over here. You probably also like to hear the drums on top of the instrumental. So what we can do is go back and choose the pattern 1 and place it in our playlist view, and then scroll up and place another pattern just like that, and then just basically duplicate it. So we have it 4 times. So whatever we built right now, as you can see, it pops up in the arrangement view as well. Now we can just go and turn the song mode so we can hear both patterns at the same time. Let's use those stock drums first, and then I'll show you how big of a difference using quality sound makes. So trap drums will start with a hi-hat. This is this kind of sound. And we can go and right click on the insert, and here you'll find a couple of automatic fills to save a little bit of time. So as you can see, it just filled every second step. Then for the snare, which sounds like that, we'll put it on beat number 3 and beat number 7. And since each beat starts with the new color, so we'll place it on 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it repeats, so it's 5, 6, 7, right? So we can just leave it like that. Then for the kick drum, you can place it on any start of the beat or half of the beat where it feels good for you. Usually the drums, create the groove and the rhythm, so we want to show people where's the start of the beat. That's why I'll put the kick, which is like the fundamental of your drums, on the starting beat. Let's turn down our instruments a little bit. Doesn't sound any good at all because our drum pattern, especially the kick, should be at least 2 bars long. And for now, we just have it 1 bar long. And the bars you can clearly see in the arrangement view. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. And the beats are the vertical lines in between. And then beats you also have visible in the channel rack easily, looking by the color, so that we have 4 beats in a bar and 4 steps in a beat. So what we can do is remove those 2 patterns and extend them. So we have it double size like that. And now we need to add more hi-hats like this. As you can see, in arrangement also changed. So now we also add a snare, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we place it here. And then let's make a variation of the kick drum. Right, so we can place it anywhere on the half or the starting. So let's maybe try something random like that. Right? Don't go over the top. Drums, especially in trap music, are only to keep the rhythm going and not necessarily be in the highlights, right? So something easier like that's definitely better. If you'd like to also create a little bit longer variation, so for example, in this part, create drums as we have right now, and here just make a variation of the kick, what you can do is click on the pattern and make it unique. It will now rename it to the pattern number 3. Another thing you could do is also just go into the pattern options and clone it, right? So it would create another one. We already have it here. So let's make a kick variation like this. Maybe we can just go with some extra kicks like this at the end. we keep it very simple with the snare and hat for now and just play around with the kick. Now, let's change up the drum sounds, okay? Trust me when I say this, but there are many tracks with as simple drum pattern like this one, but just use amazing sounds. So how do we install the sample packs? First, as you get today's downloads, you'll see some sample packs inside. They usually look like this. We have different types of sounds sorted in different folders. So just take the sample packs and place them somewhere on your computer where you know you'll not be touching them anymore. Because if you do change the path, FL will not know where to look for them, right? So keep them in one place and then just simply drag and drop them into your browser. Super easy. We need to do this one by one. And you can see we have those 2 packs already here. So let's take the Supreme Drums Volume 1 and first find a cool kick drum. You can open the folder and just with your arrow down, scroll through the sounds. Let's take the kick 1 and just simply drag it over the current kick we had. Now let's exchange the snare. We look for snare or clap. They usually sound pretty similar. Claps are more high-end focused, so a little bit more bright, and snares are a little bit more punchy. Let's take this one. And now let's exchange the hat. Let's go for a closed hat. And drag it over. If you don't like the sound, you can quickly exchange it using Shift and arrow up or down in your browser while playing the song, so it will automatically exchange like this. Much better. Let's check what we started with. And now here we have very, very simple, but already much better just after exchanging the samples. Now let's go and create some hi-hat rolls. FL has a graph editor built in that allows you to quickly do that. Let's open it up, and whatever channel you have marked here, you'll be able to quickly change it. So for example, you can see that note pitch, it opens up a mini piano roll, right? So exactly the same thing that you would see inside the piano roll if you open that manually. So inside we have this repeat function that allows you to quickly create a cool rolls like this. Let's make it play only the pattern. There are no rules for where to make rolls. You should make it where you think it sounds good. So play around. But one framework that I like to use is change something every 4 beats. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, we change something here, 1, 2, 3, 4, we change something here. Or if it sounds better somewhere else, let's place 1 repeat over here. Like that. It works because we create a contrast. So in these 3 beats, we create like the fundamental of the hat pattern. So you get used to kind of this rhythm. Then you change something up. So you like tickle the ears, and then you do very similar thing over here. So you keep the same pattern for 2 beats and then change it up at the end. So don't go over the top and don't try to like, place stuff like that. So for example, here it sounds really nice as well, even though we put the roll in the 2nd beat. But now I would delete the other one to not cramp up the hat with too many rolls. Now you can of course do a little bit different things as well here. Let's go to note pitch, and we had the roll somewhere over here. So let's change the pitch and check what it does. As As you can see, we only made this change in the pattern number 3, so we would technically need to go to the pattern 2 and apply those changes as well. However, we can just go to the pattern 3, mark the hat pattern, click Ctrl and C, go to the pattern 2 and paste it. So if you open now the graph, you'll see all the changes applied as well. And the last thing for hats that I think you should know about is the velocity, where varying the velocity of your hats will also bring them to life. So you don't want to sound too robotic. I would put down the velocity of every other one. It doesn't have to be perfect. Even if it's not perfect, it's better because it's more human. Right, so we would have something like that, a little bit less maybe even. Right, very, very subtle, but creates a simple difference. In the pattern 2, we could also change a little bit of the rolls so that they are not too repetitive. Perfect. Now you can see that we only can have 3 elements and the beat starts to sound pretty good. Let's add some different elements. For example, perks or rims work very good. Also claps. So perk, rim, clap, something that will put as an additional element to like spice the drum loop up. So let's replace this clap over here. Also, similarly as we've done with hat rolls, we'll make the change somewhere around the 4th beat. So here and here. A very generic pattern is to put the clap off beat on the beat 4 and 5. Now we can change the sound. Right, so we have a little bit of variation in the pattern 2 and 3. In drums like this, a lot of the vibe comes from the hats. If we were to exchange the hat and make a pattern where we skip 2 and repeat the pattern.
All right, that's gonna be it. I'm gonna eat dinner and then I'll play the harmonica. Alrighty, thanks for watching.